Today in our 2012 Dodge Avenger, we're going to be installing the Curt T-connector vehicle wiring harness with 4-pole flat trailer connector. Part number C56211. This wiring harness kit is going to provide you with a 4-pole flat connector that you can hook to your trailer to provide all the necessary lighting. It'll live inside your trunk. You can have it all bundled up, and when you're ready to use it, just unbundle it, drape it over the back, connect it to your trailer, and it'll smash between your weather stripping on your trunk here, which has got a nice cushion so it won't damage any of the wires. Since it normally lives inside the vehicle, that'll help prevent corrosion that normally occurs on one outside the vehicle. If you do just leave it outside your trunk hanging down, it does have a dust collector to help keep out that road grime. It's going to provide you with all your required turn lighting for your trailer, such as your tail lamps, your left turn, your right turn, and your braking lamps. It connects inline to your left and right rear lamp assemblies and has a circuit protected control box that isolates your trailer connector from your vehicle's lighting. This will help protect your circuits in case of any kind of failure because it's completely separate from your vehicle. It has its own dedicated power circuit, so it'll draw power directly from the battery rather than from the lighting module on your vehicle. The dust cap also doubles as a holder using the safety chain loops on your hitch. It's really easy to install. I'll show you how to do that now. We'll start our installation in the trunk on our driver's side, accessing our driver's side taillight. To do that, you'll need a flat-bladed screwdriver or a trim panel remover tool to pry out the pins here so we can get behind the carpeted cover. You can just fold that down and then unscrew the T-nuts holding the lamp in. There's one located there and another located up above. And then you can pull outward on your tail lamp assembly. A trim panel remover tool will make it easier to pry it out of place. Now that we have access to the back of our tail lamp, we'll unplug the larger connector and we'll unplug the smaller connector and set the lamp aside. We can now repeat this same process on the other side. We'll now need to remove this grommet so we can push our wires through. You can pull from the back side while pushing in from the outside to get the grommet in. We'll now have to cut the grommet down the side so we can poke our wires through. Maybe easier to cut it with scissors than a razor blade so you don't cut yourself. We'll take the connectors with the yellow wire and our black wire, and we're going to run that out through the opening where we remove the grommet. We can then take our large connector that we disconnected from our tail lamp and then plug it into the male connector of our Curt harness. We can now slide our wires through the slit we made in the grommet and slide the grommet back into place. Use some of the black silicone provided in the kit. Put some of that along the slit that we made and around the wires where they poke through. This will help keep out moisture and any water from entering the trunk. Now we're going to mount our box. You want to find a suitable area and clean it with some alcohol. That'll make sure that our sticky pad has good adhesion. We'll then take the back side of our box and clean that off as well. Put on our double-sided tape. Move the other side and we'll put it in the location that we just cleaned off. We'll now mount our ground wire. You'll use a 1/4-inch socket and the self-tapping screw provided in the kit. Find a suitable location and we'll drill it in. You want to make sure that there's nothing located behind the area where you drill it. Once you've got your ground wire secure, we can route our wires over to our passenger side for that tail lamp. That'll be our green and our red. We're going to be routing those behind this felt panel. So we'll need to remove some of the pins that hold it on. Again, take your trim panel remover or screwdriver and pop up these pins located just behind our weather strip for our trunk. There's also 2 clips located at the bottom that you'll want to remove. That way you can route your wire as close to the pan of the trunk as possible. And then we're going to route our 4-pole back out into the trunk from here. And we'll continue across with our red and green wires. With our wires over to our passenger side, we'll pull the grommet out. And we'll again have to make an incision so we can get the wiring out to our connector. Now we can plug in our Curt harness into the passenger side connector. And again, put some silicone over our grommet to keep it sealed. We'll now need to run our power wire from our control box up to our battery post. To do that, we're going to use a piece of air hose here. You can use any other kind of harder, flexible object to feed it down through the bumper out the bottom, so we can use that to pull our wire back up. This will make it much easier than feeding just the bare wire. We'll now take the long black power wire we received in the kit and connect it to the pull wire we just pushed through. We can do this using some electrical tape. Now pull your wire back up, and we've got it here now so we can connect it to the black wire from our control box. You can now take one of the butt connectors provided in your kit, or here we're going to use a heat shrink butt connector as an upgrade. This will help keep out any moisture and prevent corrosion. You can get some of these heat shrink connectors here at Etrailer.com. Crimp it on our control box side, then we'll strip back some of the black wire we fed up, and we'll crimp that onto the other side. We'll now take a heat gun to shrink down the connector. And we're ready to run our wire up to the front. When routing your wire, you want to make sure you avoid any hot components, such as your exhaust system, or moving components, such as your suspension. I'll route the wire now, and then show you the path that we took to get there. We routed our wire down on the frame rail, following factory wiring whenever possible. Up over our rear suspension, then coming down along the side of our fuel tank. Then out the front, we followed the brake lines all the way up, using their brackets, up into our engine compartment. From there, we routed it up along the side, reaching up to where we're going to connect it under the hood. When you're running it from the bottom up into your engine compartment under the hood, it's easy to use the pull wire trick that we used at the bumper to get it up in there. Before we hook the power wire up that we ran, we're going to put a fuse in line between it and the battery connection. We'll start by connecting the ring terminal provided in the kit to the fuse harness provided in the kit. We're then going to connect it to our battery Jumpstart post here. Use a wrench and a 15mm socket to remove the nut. Then slide your ring terminal over the post where you just removed the nut and put your nut back on. When you're installing this wire, make sure the fuse is not installed in the harness. That'll prevent any shorts from occurring. We'll then connect one of the yellow butt connectors provided in the kit to the other end of the harness. Again, we've upgraded to a heat shrink connector, as it is going to live outside the vehicle to prevent any corrosion. Once you've got that connected, the black wire that you ran up can be connected to the other end. So now we can kind of find the right length that works for us, so we can put it where we want it to be. And we'll cut it, strip it back, and then crimp it down. We'll again use our heat gun to shrink that down. Now's a good time to test everything out. So you'll want to plug your tail lamp assemblies back in. Just slide them into place. We don't need to tighten them down just yet. And then the last step is to plug in the fuse to the fuse holder. Now you can connect your trailer and check everything out to make sure it's working properly. Or you could plug in a tester like the one we have here. You can pick one of these up at Etrailer.com. We'll check our running lamps, brake lamps, left turn signal, and right turn signal. With everything working properly, we can reassemble the trim in our trunk. And that completes our installation of the Curt T-connector vehicle wiring harness with 4-pole flat trailer connector on our 2012 Dodge Avenger.